is another in my series of Don't Try This at Home. So recently I created a platform to put inside the loft area, trestle, using some of the old rafters that are taken out from the lower part of the roof. And the issue I have is I still don't have enough height to get right up to the ridge. So I had the bright idea of using the telescopic ladder, which I need to use from the outside to get up into the loft, because there's no staircase within the house as yet. There will be, but there isn't as yet. So I then lifted up the telescopic ladder once I was in the loft area, and then put the telescopic ladder on top of the platform that I created so that I could reach the ridge from the inside. It's not something I'd recommend other people try to do. It's a bit idiotic. But what I was desperately trying to do was to get some new rafters to help to support some of the older rafters that are in this right-hand side of the roof, and are currently sagging a bit banana shaped. And my fear is, because there's a bit of a distance between the ridge and the purlin that's further down, which isn't in the camera view, it's not going to be possibly not going to be sufficient to take my weight on me playing around on the roof on the exterior. So I'm thinking, if I can get in 2 or 3 more of these newer rafters, that should help to shore up the support of the structure. If you look on the left hand side, I've already managed to get 2 in place. Slightly easier. There seemed to be slightly more room on the left hand side than on the right hand side, and this is a real bugger to do. So, because the banana shaped, when you come to put a new rafter in, which is relatively straight, it stops in the middle, so you have to then try and force up the weight of the roof using like a jemmy bar that I've got there, to push the new chevron to lift the roof up a little bit, so that you can then try and then slide the rafter into the support of the ridge on the top. But it becomes difficult, because obviously as you're applying pressure to the new rafter, it sort of wedges itself onto the roof, and then means it doesn't flow at all, it doesn't move at all, which is what I found. It was a sort of an epic fail on my part initially with this. And I'm desperately trying to work it in my head, what on earth do I need to do to get this roof to move, to get this rafter into place. Ideally, again, if you've got another pair of hands, or if you've got a few supports, you could possibly try and jack up the roof a tiny bit, maybe 2 or 3 centimeters to an inch or 2. That would give you sufficient room to then slide the rafter into place, and then you can lower the support like an acro. I'm talking about an acro prop. Sometimes I forget the words. I've got to think of the words in French and then forget what they are in English, and vice versa. So I'm merrily playing around here, trying to work out what on earth I'm going to do, how on earth I'm going to get this sodding rafter into place on the right hand side. And it's causing me a bit of an issue, because I'm not keen on climbing up on the outside of the roof further up. I've gone up so far, and I've gone just beyond where the final purlin is. And as I've explained before, the purlins are the long horizontal supports which help to take the weight of the rafters or the chevrons, and the roof itself, the tiles and everything else. And normally, with these size of rafters, you're going to want a purlin every couple of meters, so that there's not too much bounce within the roof when you're working on it. but here it's a good 3 meters. And you know, at my age, I'm at an age now when you're young, if you fall, I used to say to my kids, if you fall when you're young, you bounce. When you're an old man, you don't bounce. You just bump, you clatter, and you start breaking things around your body. So I'm not keen on having any sort of major accidents. Certainly not until the renovation is complete and the house is done. You probably also see on the left-hand side a whacking great hole in the roof, which is on the front side of the property. And obviously, I decided to tackle the rear roof first because the rear roof is the biggest. It's the roof that's taking 4 of the Velux windows that I got second-hand to put in. And I thought if I can get the rear roof out of the way, sort of psychologically, I'll feel a whole lot better. The front roof should be a whole lot easier. There's only one roof window going in, and the pitch is slightly more severe than the rear, which actually will help me because my knees and my feet are suffering where I'm sort of perching on the roof at the moment. Kind of you sort of perch your feet like a like a bird would, I suppose, because you've only got a small sort of batten to take your weight, and you've got to make sure that your foot is on the batten where the batten meets the rafter. Well, obviously, because that's where the support is. You certainly don't want to be putting your foot on a piece of batten which is only 15 millimeters thick or 2/3 of an inch thick, where it's in between the two rafters, because you're invariably going to go straight through it. So I'm still trying to work out, as you can see in the video here. I hope if you manage to continue watching me doing this, bravo to you, because it's not an easy thing to watch an old man faffing around on a roof or inside a roof. But anyway, I'm just trying to explain what's going on, my thought process. Nearly slipped that on the platform. Anyway, I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a support on the purlin, which unfortunately you can't see with the camera angle. I'm going to put a small brace onto there, and then try and put the new rafter in place from the top to begin with, and then offer it in. So I've had to cut they always say measure twice and cut once. I measured once and ended up cutting twice. So the chevron initially was too long. I couldn't get enough play between the purlin and the ridge. So I ended up having to cut it ever so slightly, just so that I could at least get it in one end, push it in one end, and then lower it back down into the other end. So again, using the jemmy bar to try and get some pressure on that section of the old rafter, so that I can just offer the chevron into the rafter. I say chevron because that's the French term for a rafter. And often in my head, I sort of flip from French to English. It sounds a bit bizarre, but there you go. So get the rafter in place finally, and just put a couple of screws more into the brace just to take the initial support, and then I'll put probably a metal bracket in place to support it. I need to do another couple of 3 of these rafters in this particular section of the roof, so that I will have at least the confidence to climb on the roof on the outside and finish taking off all those tiles and get myself up to the ridge. There's been a couple of questions asked on that, and that's the reason why I've kind of stopped at the moment on the right hand side. I've gone up as far as I can go, just gone, like I say, just to beyond where that final purlin is. In an ideal world, there'd be another purlin kind of where my head is now, just to take the weight of the rafters midway between the final purlin and the ridge, hoping that all that makes sense. So anyway, that one finally went in. If you, like I say, if you've managed to endure watching an old boy faff about on the inside of the roof, thank you ever so much. Thank you for all your comments and any advice you feel you could offer. If there's any roofers out there that want to tell me what I'm doing right or wrong, I'd love to hear from you. And I'll do some more videos shortly, hopefully on the exterior, which will probably be the left-hand side, where I'm cracking on over the left-hand side before I get to the right-hand side to finish, to get up to ridge height, which would be lovely. I can have a topping out party when I reach the ridge. A topping out party is normally a traditional thing you do just when you're at the highest part of a building. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.